Welcome to Info Plus. In this video, we're going to talk about Bigfoot and examine all of the evidence for their existence from every angle. To show your support for us, please like, share, and subscribe to the video. Let's go. One of North America's oldest and most popular stories is about Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Most scientists don't believe that a big unknown ape-like creature wanders through the forests because there has never been any hard evidence that such an animal exists. Still, over the last 50 years, people from all over the US and Canada have told thousands of stories about what they saw. Here are some of the most well-known sightings of Bigfoot. In 1955, a man named William Rowe claimed to have seen a creature that was part human and part animal while hiking on Nika Mountain in British Columbia. This is one of the most well-known Bigfoot reports. In 1957, he swore in a statement that the creature was about 6 feet tall, had brown hair with silver tips, thick arms that reached to its knees, broad feet, and breasts. In his statement from 1957, Rowe stated, "As I watched this creature, I wondered if some movie company was making a film at this place, and that what I saw was an actor made up to look partly human and partly animal. But as I looked at it more, I came to the conclusion that such a specimen could not be faked." Albert Osmond, a prospector, claimed that he lived with a Bigfoot family for about a week in 1924 near Tova Inlet, British Columbia. Osmond was camping by himself when he says a Bigfoot father picked him up in his sleeping bag and took him to meet Mama Bigfoot and her 2 children. Osmond was held captive by the family, but he said he got away when Papa Bigfoot got sick after eating Osmond's chewing tobacco. The way Osmond talks about his attackers is similar to how Rowe wrote about them in 1957. But Digging points out in his book that even though Osmond said the meeting took place in 1924, he didn't write it down until 1957 after hearing Rowe's story, so he may have been affected by Rowe. In 1967, a camera caught what is possibly the most famous Bigfoot sighting. The Patterson-Gimlin film is a minute-long video that seems to show a female Bigfoot going through a clearing in Northern California. The film is still frequently cited as the best proof of the creature's existence by those who believe in it. Scientists have, for the most part, said that the film shows a person in a suit. Jeffrey Meldrum, a professor of anatomy and biology at Idaho State University and the author of Sasquatch, Legend Meets Science, is one of the few scientists who has publicly supported the film and the existence of Bigfoot. Meldrum told Live Science that he is convinced that the film is real and that he thinks it has become more believable over time. In the 1960s, people said the creature's walk was too human. Meldrum, however, says that scientific discoveries like Lucy show that our ape-like ancestors walk straight, so there is now a scientific reason for the creature's human-like movement. According to Meldrum, what you see on that film is exactly how we imagine something like a robust Australopithecine to look. It almost seems like science has finally caught up with this whole Bigfoot thing. Meldrum pointed out that the film shows parts of the body, like the size and shape of the face, that are similar to those of early humans, like Paranthropus boise. The creature in the film is about 6 to 7 feet tall, according to estimates. Most experts, though, are not convinced by the video. In a 2020 Twitter thread, paleontologist and author of Hunting Monsters, Cryptozoology, and the Reality Behind the Myths, Darren Naish, listed a lot of reasons why the film might not be real. Most importantly, he points out that Patterson, who shot the film, had already made Bigfoot a money-making business before it came out. But Naish says that Patty's fur seems to shine and move like that of a real animal, and her muscles move in a way that looks real. This suggests that it is a very good fake. Brian Regal, an associate professor of the history of science at Keene University in New Jersey, and the author of Searching for Sasquatch, Crackpots, Eggheads, and Cryptozoology, is more negative about the film. He told Live Science that people put their own ideas onto Patty. "You look at it and see what you want to believe," he said. The reported sighting at Ape Canyon in 1924 wasn't so much a sighting as it was a fight. In a gorge on the side of Mount Street Helens, a group of gold prospectors claimed they had to protect their cabin from several guerrilla men. A gang of the Sasquatch's hairy kin decided to exact payback at night after one of the miners, Fred Beck, reportedly shot at a Sasquatch during the day. People say that the creatures threw rocks and blocks at the miners' cabin, and that one of them even stuck an arm inside. The miners made it through the attack, and the animals went back into the woods when the sun came up, maybe because Beck shot one of them. After the attack was reported, Beck went back to the spot with U.S. Forest Service rangers. The rangers couldn't find the body of a Sasquatch and didn't seem to be impressed by the big rocks they found next to the cabin or the claimed giant footprints they found nearby. The rangers seemed to think the miners placed the stones there themselves and that the footprints were made by a human hand, the local Oregonian newspaper reported at the time. The miners may have been attacked by a gang of neighborhood kids throwing rocks at the cabin for fun, according to a common account for the Ape Canyon story put forth by skeptics. Scott Tompkins, a data manager and founder of the Bigfoot Mapping Project, told Live Science that most Bigfoot reports he has mapped don't end in violence. Tompkins said, "When people talk about the behavior, they seem very curious but not aggressive." There are a lot of Bigfoot movies on YouTube, but a clip from Provo Canyon is one of the most watched. The video seems to show a big black animal bent over in the trees, possibly eating or looking for food. The camera zooms in to get a closer look, and a few seconds later, the big creature stands up on two legs, as if it were bipedal. This makes the pair behind the camera turn around and run away right away. Beardcard, who put the video on the account, says it was shared on October 30, 2012. In order to get a closer look at some deer on a hill, the pair went camping. On our way up, we thought we saw a bear until the monster stood up and looked right at us, Beardcard wrote in the video's description. After that, we ran right back to the car, leaving our tent and everything else behind. Most likely, it's all still up there. The video about Provo Canyon is short and doesn't say much. Eric Rickard, who is in charge of vertebrate biology at the Natural History Museum of Utah, told Fox 13 News Utah in 2019 that the science didn't back the idea that there was a Bigfoot in the state. How likely is it that there are large animals that have evaded scientists and trained observers? Rickard said, "There are many things to find, especially in nature, but they don't take the form of giant apes running around in places where most people live." Skunk apes are said to be Bigfoot-like creatures that live in swamps and roam the southeastern U.S. On October 28, 2013, a YouTube user named Josh Highcliffe put up one of the most famous movies of a skunk ape. In it, a cameraman films a possible skunk ape looking for food in a swamp in Mississippi. It looks like a squatting ape with big shoulders and a small head on top. It is pulling off chunks of wood, which seems to show how strong it is. Then, all of a sudden, it stands up, and it has these long legs, said Meldrum, who was impressed by the video but hadn't yet had a chance to examine it in detail. Similar to the 2012 Provo Canyon video, the final shot of the creature in the video occurs just as it stands up. People who try to film Bigfoot often pull the camera out of their hands and run away just as they are about to get a good look at one. Rick Dyer and Matthew Whitten, two guys, claimed to have a frozen Bigfoot specimen in 2008. They said they found it in the woods in northern Georgia while they were hiking. Their story made the news, but the body was later found to be a rubber gorilla suit. When Dyer claimed to have shot another Bigfoot in San Antonio, Texas in 2012, he made headlines once more. In 2014, the San Antonio Express News said that he took this second Bigfoot on tour and charged people to see it before admitting that it was a fake. Even though they aren't exactly sightings, Bigfoot footprints are one of the most often mentioned things about the Bigfoot phenomenon. The name Bigfoot comes from a story about giant footprints found by a man named Ray Wallace in Northern California in 1958. The story doesn't seem to be true. Smithsonian Magazines says that his children later claimed that the prints were a joke their father played on them. Meldrum says that fakers are uncommon and that he has a lot of real footprints to back up the many reports. Meldrum said, "I have more than 300 footprint cast copies and original materials in my lab that form the basis of a remarkable body of data that attests to the fact that there is something out there leaving these footprints." And the simplest answer is that it is a species of bipedal primate that isn't known to science. But skeptics will wait until there's a body. Thank you for making it this far in this video. If you like this kind of information, write your thoughts in the comments part and like the video.